In this video, we're going to start looking at a bass line for the track. So we're leaving the chords behind. So let's work on this section of the track here. So this has been our kind of main kind of hook section. This verse section is where we kind of come back to, and we've got little sections without the vocals where it kind of drops down to. So that's kind of our A section essentially. Now what I'm going to do is make a new track, software instrument track. Okay, so there's three ways we can approach using this plugin. First of all, we could load it in as a MIDI effect in Logic from here. And then whatever we choose, the instrument slot is going to be controlled via Captain Deep as a MIDI effect. Alternatively, we can use it as a sound module. So we could use the default sounds or the preset sounds that ship with Captain Deep. And that's what we're going to do in this video. And that's actually quite a nice way of working. So it means you can really focus on the melody and harmony without getting bogged down in the sound design. But alternatively, we could load in a VST instrument from your VST plugin list. And that would essentially mean that Captain Deep is acting like a MIDI effect with a software instrument loaded into the slot underneath. But we can do it all from within one plugin window. But it only works with VST instruments and not audio units instruments. And you can see my list was quite sparse because actually most of my installations are audio units and not VST. So depending on how many plugins you have loaded, you're going to have a small or big list. Okay, but as I said, I'm going to work with the sound preset. Now, let's click connect. That's joining Captain Chords and Captain Deep together. Okay, now remember we have the same sections in Captain Deep that we had in Captain Chords. So you'll see that the verse, pre-chorus, the chorus and the drop sections are actually all reflecting the chord progression that we had in Captain Chords. Now some of those are the same, these two were the same, because actually the only thing I think that changed in Captain Chords is the rhythm. But Captain Deep is going to have its own rhythm dictated by these options here. So this way we can basically choose a bass line to work with the different sections of the track. Now we'll start with the verse section, and this has been our kind of A section of the track, I suppose you'd say. Let's just name this channel while we're there. So this is kind of our main kind of section we return to. But as you could hear there, that bass line didn't fit because we had drop selected. If we put it onto verse now, you'll hear the bass will harmonize nicely with the chords. Okay, so we can choose the octave we want to work in. So let's say we wanted to bring that down an octave. So that's an important decision to make because you want it to have that power and the weight you get with the lower kind of ranges, but also needs to be audible on smaller speakers. So you've got to be careful with that. I'm going to try it on 0 to start with, but that may change. So follow the chords is the shape of the bass line. So how's it going to relate to the chords essentially? So we could have opposite movement. Minimum adjustment necessary. Or don't change melody. So now it's going to basically find a note which is going to fit on both the chords. But obviously that sounds a bit strange. Yeah, we'll leave it on follow the chords. And next, very important, is the rhythm. So at the moment it's on every offbeat, which doesn't work in the context of the genre. It's not groovy enough. It's too repetitive essentially. So we're going to change that. And we have lots of different things we can try here. So we have the simple menu. Okay, complex, let's try some from here. So at the moment, I'm actually just listening to see if anything kind of sparks an idea or sticks with the track. That's not too bad. It's also not bad. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with that. I like that. Down, 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 do that kind of rhythm. Okay, let's try taking it up an octave and see how it works. I think it was better lower. Let's try the space dial. So different options we can choose from here. Let's actually just take it onto a section of the track where the vocal's not playing, just so we don't have the distraction of the vocal. Okay, so let's try that to start with. Now there's a bass sound that I've used before, which is the vice bass. Similar kind of sound, but a little bit more snappy. Let's try that an octave higher. Yeah, I think that works well. I think this has probably got a sub-harmonic mixed in, which means it fills out that lower range and doesn't feel too high. What I'm going to try doing is filtering it. I'm going to do that from this sound preset menu down here, where we can actually change up the sounds a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with that as an idea. Now we don't have MIDI editing in Captain Deep. You'll see there that the menu comes up saying MIDI editing is coming soon. So that's obviously something they're going to add in the same way they added it in for Captain Chords. So let's just drag our MIDI in to the project. And we'll set Captain Deep to be MIDI in. And that means that we can listen back to the sound as a sound module. And I'm just going to do some amendment to this MIDI. So I can hear it going down, 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 down. So this is kind of what I'm hearing. And I hear that repeating. So often that's a good way of working with a kind of get a motif together, you know, a sound, a rhythm and a melody that you like, and then, you know, repeat it and work around it and vary it. And that can be a simple way of getting a good bass line or melody together. Maybe we could not have those playing the second time. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I like that groove, so let's hear how that sounds. Okay, so I want that to be ba-dum-bum. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was looking for. So let's just loop this in our verse sections. Now we can obviously go back to this and alter it when we actually start to really arrange the track kind of for real. But for the time being, this is good for us to work with. There we go. So you can see that it's a great way of mapping out a framework for the track in terms of the melody and harmony that we can then come back to and adjust in different ways. So I'll just loop this because I think this actually doesn't go to the second half or the end bar of it. So let's just hear how this sounds. So that can maybe go da, da, da. Yeah, that works. So let's just take that off loop. I'm going to join these together. And I think I take this note out the first time. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we've got our first bass line locked in now. In the next video, we're going to come up with a B section bass line for our kind of chorus chords or B section chords.